everyone. For this time, the first place I'd like to introduce is Gyeongju, a historical city with the longest history in Korea. Gyeongju is located in the lower part of South Korea, which is called Gyeongsangbuk-do province, where you can easily see the East Sea nearby. Gyeongju is a special city. It has a very long history, and the traces of that history still make up the identity of Gyeongju today. Gyeongju was the capital of an ancient country called Silla that lasted for 1,000 years. For those 1,000 years, Gyeongju was its capital. Still today, many cultural heritages remain, including the tombs of kings and queens, and excavation processes are still ongoing. The entire city of Gyeongju is a historic site, especially Seokguram Grotto and Bulguksa Temple were listed as a Korean first UNESCO World Heritage Sites in 1995. And in 2000, the entire city was listed as a World Heritage Site under the name of Gyeongju Historic Area. So please allow me to introduce Gyeongju, a city which embraces its wonderful history, full of things to see and eat, attracting travelers throughout the year. Most of the Korean schools go on field trips to Gyeongju at least once before completing their curriculum. I also have memories going there when I was in elementary school. As such, Gyeongju is a place of memories that every Korean visits at least once during their school days. Families who want to take a meaningful trip with their children or travelers visit Gyeongju for intellectual healing and a cultural recharge. Many foreigners who want to experience Korean history and culture visit here. It's not simply a place where historical sites are clustered, but a comfortable environment for a well-deserved vacation. Though Gyeongju is not a small city, the center city, where most of the key historical sites are located, has important cultural heritages that can be accessed on foot. The walkway is well paved, and there are various means of transportation that can be easily accessed, such as electric bicycles, trains, and electric scooters. Of course, there are also buses and taxis. Various accommodations from hanok to hotel are ready to use, and there is a tourist street called Hwangri-dan-gil, full of local foods and souvenirs. So first, let's take a look at the most famous places in Gyeongju, Bulguksa Temple and Seokguram Grotto. In 1995, Bulguksa Temple became the first UNESCO World Heritage Site in Korea, along with the Seokguram Grotto, Jongmyo Shrine in Seoul, and Tripitaka Koreana and Haeinsa Temple in Hapcheon. In Korea, we have a word that if there are people who have never visited Gyeongju, but there is no one who doesn't visit to Bulguksa Temple and Seokguram Grotto, even they are in Gyeongju. As such, Bulguksa Temple is the cultural heritage that represents all of Korea beyond just Gyeongju. The people of Silla, who deeply believed in Buddhism, gather all their skills, intelligence, and sincerity to build Bulguksa, meaning the land of the Buddha. Bulguksa temples, buildings, and pagodas are even arranged based on Buddhist doctrine. So first of all, when you look at the entrance, the stone walls support the land of the Buddha. Pomyeongnu, a pavilion on the stone shaft, presents the summit of a mountain Sumisan, which means the center of the Buddhist world. The stairs to heaven are Cheonggyo and Baegunggyo. After climbing Cheonggyo and Baegunggyo Bridge and passing Jahamun Gate, you will face Daeungjeon Hall, which enshrines the Buddha. In the yard of Daeungjeon Hall, two pagodas stand to escort the Buddha. They are Tabotap and Sokatap, which are designated as national treasures. Except for the stone framework and a few cultural heritages, many parts of Pulguksa that remain today have been restored. But even today, it welcomes travelers as a temple that demonstrates the Buddhism of the Millennium Shilla. Not far from Pulguksa Temple, there is Seokguram Grotto, which is listed as a World Cultural Heritage along with the Pulguksa Temple. Samguk Yusa, one of the oldest history books in Korea, tells the story of how Pulguksa Temple and Seokguram were built. It's a story of a man named Kim Dae-sung from Shilla. He said he lived twice. So he built Seokguram Grotto for his parents in his first life and Pulguksa Temple for his parents in the second life. Well, we cannot know this story is true or not. In particular, Seokguram Grotto is a stone cave temple. It's not a natural cave, but an artificial cave made by cutting and stacking stones in a delicate design over 20 years. There were stone cave temples before Seokguram Grotto, but Seokguram Grotto is the only artificial cave in the world formed over such a long time. To ensure that the dome on the ceiling is balanced without any deviations, stone nails were inserted horizontally between the stones that make up the dome. Under the dome, there is the main Buddha, which shows the essence of Shilla Buddhist art. A stone Buddha with a gentle smile sits with a majestic appearance. Seokguram Grotto is a masterpiece of Shilla Buddhist art with various sculptures and statues of Buddha in addition to the principal Buddha. However, now we are only allowed to take a look at the principal Buddha of Seokguram Grotto through a window. It was greatly damaged during the Japanese colonial period. In modern times, it was restored incorrectly, so now it's protected by glass. So before moving on to see Seokguram Grotto, there are some places you must stop by. This is the Shilla Arts and Science Museum, where you can see how great Buddhist architecture at Seokguram is. It explains in detail the scientific secrets of Seokguram Grotto, which is locked behind the glass and fighting against moss and moisture. Here, there is a 1/5 scale model of Seokguram Grotto, and you can take a look at the internal structure of Seokguram front and main chambers. So far, we've seen Pulguksa Temple and Seokguram Grotto. Then let's move on to the Gyeongju historic areas in downtown Gyeongju. In 2000, the area encompassing downtown Gyeongju and Namsan Mountain was registered as a UNESCO World Heritage Site under the name of Gyeongju Historic Area. Gyeongju Historic Area consists of 5 districts: Namsan, Wolseong, Daereungwon, Hwangryongsa, and Myeonghwalsan. These 5 districts embrace numerous cultural heritages from the time of Shilla, including pagodas, temple sites, palace sites, royal tombs, Buddhist statues, and mountain fortresses. The Korean peninsula was under the reign of the Shilla dynasty for about 1,000 years, and the Gyeongju Historic Area contains many cultural heritages that are important to understand Shilla's achievements, especially regarding Buddhism, architecture, and the culture of Korea. The state of preservation of Gyeongju Historic Area is quite good, and it's well managed as a tourist attraction. In particular, if you go to Gyeongju Historic Area, I recommend you to visit Daereungwon, Cheomseongdae, and Gyeongju National Museum. Daereungwon is an area of tombs where we assume the royal class of Shilla have been buried 1,000 years ago. Tens of thousands of relics have been found in these tombs, which are as big as a small mountain. One of the tombs, Cheonmachong, is open to the public, so you can take a look inside. Across from Daereungwon, Cheomsangdae, another landmark of Gyeongju, is located. The actual artifacts found in the historic sites are in Gyeongju National Museum. If you visit to the museum, you can see the splendid golden crowns and golden accessories of Shilla, which was called Golden Country. Shilla defeated several competing nations and unified the Korean peninsula. Even after the unification, the capital was never changed, leaving many buildings, palaces, temples, forts, and tombs in Gyeongju. After the fall of Shilla, the Korean peninsula dynasty changed from Goryeo to Joseon, and Joseon was forcibly ruled by Japan since 1910. And even though many of the major buildings have been damaged or destroyed over such a long period of time, but Gyeongju has maintained its unique identity. Even if the language and the culture are different, we are all deeply touched by the pyramids of Egypt, Angkor Wat in Cambodia, and Bulguksa Temple and Seokguram Grotto in Korea. It's because the heart that sympathizes and be touched by history exists beyond the race and ethnicity. Aren't you curious about the history of Gyeongju more? I hope you understand and enjoy Korea's long history and culture here in Gyeongju, a historical city that is beautiful in every season. Thank you.